So maybe you're interested in this whole bike touring thing, but are a little bit intimidated. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys my 3 tips for the beginner bike tourist. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers. And if you're new to the channel, if you're into things like bike touring, gravel bikes, the supple life, then you have found your people. Consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you like videos like this and feel like they provide value, consider supporting the channel. We just set up a new Patreon account so you can help this channel grow and we can deliver more great content every week. So bike touring can be kind of intimidating. I still remember when I first saw my first bike tourist, I was in complete awe. These are the 3 things I wish someone had told me in the very beginning. So number 1, go with what you've got already. If you're already a bike commuter, then you're practically a bike tourist. All you really need is a bike and a way to carry things. I've toured from everything from a fixed gear to a front-loading cargo bike. We did a tour on Bromptons. I've toured on a 3-speed. It's really easy to develop existential gear lust where you're thinking, oh, if I just had that one more piece of perfect camping gear or one more perfect bike component, then my touring setup will be dialed and I'll finally be able to do my first tour. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. There's always going to be that one other piece that you're going to want before you want to get out the door. So I'm telling you now, just go with what you got. It may not be perfect. It may not be in your eyes Instagram worthy, but just go. People have been touring for a long time with a rack and panniers, and trust me, if you're doing just dirt roads, your bike is not gonna explode. So number 1, go with what you got. Tip number 2 is go small. There's nothing wrong with just going out for 20 miles and setting up camp at the local state park, or even just riding to the next town over and staying at a B&B or Airbnb. Don't feel like your first trip has to be this huge epic thing where you're fording rivers or hike-a-biking up through mud. I know those make for awesome photos, but really, if it's your first time, see if you like it. See if you like this whole concept of traveling to a new destination and carrying your stuff with you. Our first trip, we took a bus to a train from Long Beach to the Central California coast, and actually rode from the coast to the small town of Solvang, where we stayed in a little Dutch-style motel. And it was awesome. It felt like such a big adventure, even though in some ways you could think of it as just a really long commute. But really that small trip set us off to longer, bigger trips where there's camping, dirt roads, all that stuff. So the point is, don't feel like you have to tackle the Great Divide or something crazy like that for your first bike touring trip. You know, do something small, do something local, do something where you can shake down your gear, make sure things work without a huge penalty if things go wrong. And don't feel like every trip has to be epic with a capital E. So the third bit of advice is to go now. If you're curious about bike touring, there is no better time than the present to go out that door and do your first bike trip, because you're not getting any younger. Let me repeat that. You are not getting any younger. You're not getting any younger. And also, let's be real, the world is changing. Here in the West, the outdoor recreation season seems to be getting shorter every year. There's a bigger increase in fire and wildfire smoke, and it used to be that you could tour all summer long and not have to worry about that, but the reality of the situation, people, is the world is changing, our climate is changing, and not to sound too apocalyptic, but if you love to do outdoor things, you should probably do it now. So those are my 3 bits of advice for the beginner bicycle tourist. Go with what you got, go small, and definitely go now. I'm curious what your first bike tour was. Was it this big epic thing, or was it just down the road? Let me know in the comments below. And once again, if you enjoyed videos like this, don't forget to share, subscribe, and consider supporting the channel. There's different ways: the Patreon, the PayPal, or buying a shirt. And as always, keep the supple side down.